the strategic partnership between India and the US as we know it today. And many of you who are in this room today, too many to name individually, have actually played critical roles in the transformation of the India-US relationship that we've witnessed over the last decade. 1 week from today, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and President Barack Obama will meet in Washington, D.C. And I thought, therefore, we might take stock of where we are in the relationship and look at its present trajectory and its prospects. This will be Prime Minister Singh's 6th bilateral summit with the US President. His first summit in 2005 with President Bush built on the momentum of the previous years and established a bold new transformative agenda. Prime Minister's visit in November 2009 as President Barack Obama's first state visitor, and President Obama's own historic visit here a year later in November highlighted the bipartisan character of the relationship, its enduring merit based on shared values and interests, and the commitment of the leaders to a sustained process of broadening and deepening the partnership. Both leaders have spoken of the relationship as a defining relationship, as one of the most important relationships of the 21st century. I think I don't need to count the ways in which this relationship has been transformed in the last decade to this audience. Most of you know about it. We've come a very long way in this decade. We've come from a time when we dealt with each other very formally, sometimes warily, to a full spectrum relationship where we engage in every aspect of what states or governments, individuals and institutions do. For India, this has been, the relationship with the US has been the one relationship which has probably been the most transformed in the past 10 years. What were once considered breakthroughs in the relationship are now regarded as normal or routine. I suppose this is a sign of maturity, even though it robs it maybe of some of the excitement of some years ago. And we also face the reality that we need to deal with a whole new set of challenges today. We have all the features of a strong and comprehensive strategic partnership. We have regular high-level political dialogue. In recent months, we've had, I think, one high-level visit every month. We have strategic dialogues on every major international issue and on major regions. We have a growing partnership on non-proliferation, on export controls, on nuclear issues. Our security cooperation includes multiple forms of engagement. Our defense relations are strong. We conduct defense exercises. We are now working to move to joint research, co-development, co-production of defense products through partnerships between our defense industries as part of our strategy to develop India's defense industrial base. Cooperation between India and the US beyond the public gaze in the fight against crime, terrorism, is also very effective. The Homeland Security Dialogue, which we started in 2011, has been of mutual benefit in protecting our citizens. And we've also begun the process of exploring the potential of cooperation in cybersecurity and in space security. On the economic side, as you know, our trade in goods and services this year will exceed $100 billion, and it's grown every year in the past 5 years despite the world economic crisis. We might each have reasons to feel not fully satisfied. Our expectations are high, which is not a bad thing. But nobody denies, I think, the potential and the significance of this economic relationship. The US is our single largest trading partner and is a source of critical technology, capital, investment, and collaborations. There's over $50 billion worth of US investment in India and about $11 billion, give or take a few millions, of Indian investment in the US. But some of the most innovative and the rewarding partnerships are in the interlinked domains of health, of education, of energy, clean energy, especially science and technology. They often don't get the attention that they deserve, but in terms of their impact on the lives of people, these are the ones that really matter. And as for our peoples, there are about 600 major and 1,500 small and medium US companies in India today, and over 100,000 Indian students in the US. When you see suburban developments outside Delhi called Nassau County or Palm Springs, you realize the extent of the links at the popular level. But despite this broad range of relationships, you have the phenomenon of people speaking of a drift in the relationship, that it's plateaued. I find this rather strange way of describing what is still a new relationship, and a relationship where, at least as far as governments are concerned, we do 32 dialogues every year, regularly. And that's a big number to sustain. But one reason for this perception, I think, is the fact that it is now a full-spectrum relationship. It's no longer focused on one big transformational idea as it was, say, 2005, 2008. To me, that breadth is actually part of the strength of the relationship. The other reason for that impression is probably the economic factors at play here. The macroeconomic situation, and in the US and India, but more important, the world economic crisis. US friends mention concerns about economic reforms and specific policy issues in India. Now, these are primarily and first and foremost of concern to us as Indians ourselves. And government is addressing these sets of issues. On our side as well, I think the IT industry has been very concerned about the immigration bill. And that has its own resonance, since this is an industry which I think employs about 280,000 people in the US, and was the locomotive of the partnership at the beginning. But my own feeling, actually, looking ahead and at what we are doing, is that the potential for growth in the relationship remains very, very strong. This is particularly so in energy, in defense, in education, and in the strategic